Hello, and welcome back to the Friends of Zeus podcast. As you can see tonight, we are Zeusless. I think maybe he had to work tonight, and
Oh
also it's not.
man.
We're recording this on. We normally do the show on a Tuesday, and now it's Monday, January 29th, 2024. It's a sort of a bonus episode.
Hmm.
We do a group text thing, and my boy Mike over there with the red hat, he wanted to do like a check-in like tonight, and Des and I were able to do that, and so here we are. We have no idea what Mike wants
No
to talk
idea.
about, so it's exciting for
But he
us.
didn't tell us that we were wearing our MAGA hats tonight because I would have
I
worn mine.
I know. Well, that's part of the episode.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
if you
see,
want to go get one, that's fine. But
No, because my hair's in a good ponytail. I can't mess it up.
oh, okay.
But you know what today is, though, y'all? Today is Kansas's birthday. Happy birthday, Kansas.
No way.
Yay.
Became a state today?
Yeah.
What number state are they?
I don't know.
I know Maryland is number 7.
I think it's
Maryland
like
was the
30
7th.
something.
Okay. I don't know
yeah,
about New
no.
Jersey. I think New Jersey is earlier than 7, but
Well, I
I
don't
could be
have
wrong.
I don't have such a hat.
Yeah.
I'm in a very blue region or part of a very blue state.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of there's a stand-up comedian that's really good, a young guy from New York. His name's Andrew Schultz.
Mm.
And he's got a podcast himself. And he's got, gosh, what is the name? Oh, Flagrant is the name of his like 1 hour special that's also free on YouTube.
I'm gonna look it
And,
up.
and and he does this whole sketch. It's an excellent stand-up special. He does a whole sketch about the MAGA hat.
I
And
can't
he
wait.
said, and he said in this country, he's like, those people are badasses because if you get up in the morning and you put that hat on and go out, you're ready for some violence. Like you're
Yeah.
ready to
You
take
woke
it
up
on.
and
Like, I
chose
mean,
violence.
Yeah,
well,
man.
especially up here in the New York, tri-state area,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So
That's
yeah, I
where I
mean, you just
purchased my MAGA hat.
what's that?
I said I purchased my MAGA hat in New York.
Oh, did you? Well, wow. I
Isn't
mean,
yours white? Yeah.
it's not like there are no Trump fans here. It's just that if you wear it around here, you're pretty much looking to engage,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
that's that it Jack, you have kind of stumbled into the area I want to get into tonight.
Oh,
That's
good.
amazing. Um yeah, I mean, hello everybody out in podcast land. Our last episode is rocketing up the charts about pipe bombs.
Yeah,
You
go
guys should
figure.
check that one out. I mean, man, that's we should do a part 2 on that. But so tonight, kind of, I just want to do a little check-in. This is not going to be well, I don't think it may be, but I don't think it's going to be a super duper long episode. But I kind of want to do a check-in because I'm feeling pretty, I'm feeling pretty optimistic lately for some reason,
Hmm.
which is unusual because I
Hmm.
haven't felt this way in a long time. And part of the reason I'm wearing this hat is because, well, I'll get into that in a minute, but there's a reason I'm doing it. Um, this hat was made in Bangladesh, apparently. I looked on Trump's website and I didn't want one that said like Trump, and because I'm not like a personality person. I'm more about an idea person. So, but I want to make sure it wasn't made in China at least. But anyway, this is a full disclosure. It's made in Bangladesh. But
Yeah.
and the font is a little screwed up. Really not good. And I got the sticker on here, which I've never done that before. I've never kept the sticker on. Anyway,
The lettering is a
lately,
little messed up,
I
but that's
know it
okay.
is. It is.
No, it's a
So
knockoff. It's a
Yeah,
knockoff.
it's a
it's so
knockoff.
can't yeah.
It's a knockoff. So, like Jack, I do not live in a Republican area. I live in the old line state, which is Maryland, and we surround half of DC. We gave the property that is DC right now. Virginia donated some land, and then they're assholes, so they took it back. So what is DC was Maryland. So every time someone says, "Hey, we need to let DC vote," my answer is let them vote in the Maryland as Marylanders, and they'll get representation. but they don't want that because they want 2 more senators. They don't want to just join Maryland, but they should. They should vote with Maryland if that's what they want. Anyway, the reason I've been wearing this hat lately, much to my wife's chagrin and other friends of mine that don't think it's a very good idea, is I have felt a little bit of a worm turning lately. And
Mhm.
and it's been not one thing in particular, but I will say that when I think about it, it kind of goes back to October 7th is kind of the start. And again, on October 7th is when Hamas went into central South Israel and slaughtered like 1,200 people and took what 250 other
Mhm.
people as hostages, of which I think 130 are still being held hostage. And that's if you look from that point forward, as somebody that monitors all media, like I just dislike media in general. I mean, because they're so weak these days, but I check Huffington Post and
Mhm.
Daily Kos and CNN and MSNBC in addition to Breitbart and Newsbusters and Fox News and Daily Caller and all those guys. And the one thing I've always found interesting is on most leftist sites, they don't have, you can't make comments. If you go to CNN or MSNBC.com and you look at one of their stories, there's no way to comment. They're not
Mhm.
interested in listening to what their viewers and readers have to say, as opposed to, say, Daily Caller and Breitbart and Fox. They have a pretty active comment section. Huffington Post, to their credit, does have a good comment section. And when I've gone on there and I kind of go in there to kind of just get a feel for where people are and just try to and I ask honest questions. When I used to go in there, if I said anything, I would get like 100 responses about what an asshole I was and everything else. And in the last 30 to 40 days or so,
Mhm.
um, there is a definite shift, and it's not from things I'm saying. I'm saying the same thing. But what I've noticed is instead of getting laid out, I'm getting it's probably about 50-50 upvotes and downvotes, right? And as far as like, and I'm saying the same things. I'm saying things I say here on this podcast. And people who are Democrat or self-described Democrat voters are having issues with the
Mhm.
border, with the way the party is running foreign policy, and things along those lines. And honestly, it's not that I didn't see this coming. I just never accounted for it. Like I never thought that this would happen. I mean, all the doom and gloom that I've been feeling about this year, some of it's still there, don't get me wrong. A lot of it's still there. But I really feel that we are in in a historic moment. And the more I'm thinking about it, I I just have this feeling that this election in November, it could be a major landslide. I think this could be like 1984 all over again. And again, that
Mhm.
doesn't mean everyone just gets to sit back and relax
No.
at all. But I mean, there's a lot to do, but I've definitely noticed this shift. And so the whole point with this hat, so in my neighborhood, this is a incredibly provocative thing to be wearing. I mean, to the point where I don't feel comfortable wearing this hat in my neighborhood, not from a necessarily safety standpoint, but from I feel like I will be shunned or my family will be shunned, and I have other people in my house, so I don't want to be that guy. Like, don't shit where you live, I guess.
Yeah,
Is what
you're not putting a Trump sign in front of your house
I'm
on your
not
lawn.
putting it. Yeah, and as much as I would like to, but I bought this hat about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I just want to start wearing it around when I'm driving or going in to get gas or whatever. And my perception was that I was going to get all this backlash. And again, full disclosure, I live in Montgomery County, Maryland, right outside the Beltway. I travel in Bethesda, Potomac, Northwest, Chevy Chase, Maryland, very, very left leaning areas. And I haven't been getting a lot of negative responses. And I think I would have before. I used to have a sticker on my car that was political, and that caused a lot of problems. But that was a few years ago. But so this is interesting to me. I'm kind of doing it as an experiment. And again, I don't wear this hat around all the time. I'm wearing it on this episode because of the topic of this episode. But anyway, that's kind of the premise. It's sort of it's a gut feeling I have, and I just want to check in with you guys if you feel the same. And I'll look at just real quick before I turn it over to you guys. You know, I look at like the Rasmussen poll because they're the only group that has this rolling poll of approval and disapproval that goes back to when Biden was elected. And the approval has been trending down pretty relentlessly while he's been president. It came up a little bit again, but he's at like 46% approval. But except for I think 1 month of his presidency, his disapproval has been below Trump's disapproval ratings every single month he's been in office, which is saying a lot. You look at the New Hampshire primary, how that's getting reported. Of course, our party media says, you know, Trump won 54.3%, Haley won 43.2.
More to that.
But if you look at like just Republican voters, because New Hampshire has an open primary, which means independents and Democrats can vote in the Republican primary. So if you exclude Democrats and independents and just look at Republicans, Trump gets 74% and Haley gets 25%. That, my friends, that's why I'm bringing up 1984. That is a landslide, and you're not going to hear it on CNN and MSNBC because they don't want to talk about that.
You're talking about 70% of registered Republicans, right? That's
correct. But
okay.
That is, and so you're looking at Trump is the first Republican presidential candidate to win New Hampshire 3 times in a row. It's never happened. Now, granted, he's running 3 times, but you know there have been other presidents. I mean, Reagan ran before he won. You know, he ran in 76 and lost. My point is, word on the street, it just seems that there's a lot of people that are kind of waking up to this. And honestly, from a purely political standpoint, it does kind of change the game a little bit. On an earlier episode, I don't know, during the summer, I think I said I am not interested in talking to people who don't agree with me. I just want to talk to people. I just want to galvanize people that already are on my side of the fence. And I kind of believe that. But now I honestly think there's some ground to make up for people who are like disillusioned, like who are honestly like believing the media. They're not paying attention, and now they're waking up and they're like, what the fuck is going on? You know, like I think there are people out there that can be spoken to, you know, and can kind of see what's going on. But anyway, I want to get your guys' opinion.
Well, I mean, Mike, I remember saying, just going back a few episodes, when we did the episode on things that happened that surprised us last year and things that we believe or that we want to happen this year.
Yeah.
And I was feeling so optimistic that I said, and I don't know if you guys remember, I said, what I want is Trump versus Biden. I want Biden to be the Democratic nominee and go to the general election. And the reason why I also said I don't think that's going to happen. I think something else, and I've already said who I think it's going to be. And the reason why I want that to happen is because, like you, lately I've gotten a little more optimistic. And I've
Oh,
thought and
cool.
I've thought about it because I thought a lot about, say what you want about Trump. He won in 2016 pretty soundly. And 2020 came down to, like a 12-round fight where they were both slugging it out.
Mm.
And I think I've also alluded to the fact, and I think maybe you have too, Mike, there was enough shenanigans in 2020 that I'm not convinced Trump lost that election. I can
100%.
abide I can abide that Joe Biden is my president. I get he's there one way or another,
Right.
but either way Trump took it to him, and it was like, you know, uh it was a photo finish. Let's put it into another sports analogy. And now here we are. And I can only say, I mean, just anecdotally, I'll get more specific. Anecdotally, I have a friend who's very liberal on most issues. And I remember when Trump was president, I mean, the bad mouthing of the man that I had to hear, despite what the economy was, what unemployment was, no foreign wars started, bringing troops home, being an exporter of oil as opposed to being dependent on the Middle East and Russia and everybody else. Even though I thought he was doing a kick-ass job, I would just get the Trump bashing all, and you remember that too,
Yeah.
Mike. I mean,
Yeah.
this same I have a liberal friend that I dealt with those issues, and we had a conversation about a couple of different issues of today, culturally, and then as far as government policies like immigration, um, price of goods, middle class being a little closed out at this point, migrants taking over the cities, being put in hotel rooms, being given cash and cell phones while people can't even pay their rent. And this person said to me, he said, "Look, I didn't even vote last time because I didn't like either one of them, but I think I may have to vote, even though I hate the man. I think I have to vote this year, and I
Yeah.
hate to say it, but I got to vote for Trump." And I wanted to do the jig. I wanted to do cartwheels when I heard this because I'm like, okay, people are getting it.
Yeah.
They're putting aside his personal like issues. He's an asshole. He's got a bad history with women. He cheats on his taxes like every other billionaire probably does. Okay, and that hasn't been he hasn't been convicted of that
Right.
either, by
Right. If you're just giving them that.
That's the tax
like
code.
our
If you don't
boy
like the tax
Tor,
code, change
our
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
our boy. I remember
Yeah.
Tor was saying, "Oh, he's in with organized crime because he was a real estate guy in New York." I'm like, that's not
So
even
is
been an
everyone,
allegation.
right?
And he was never alleged to have done anything like
Right.
that anyway. So it's just conjecture because you don't like the guy. Like, oh, and the Biden laptop gets ignored.
Yeah.
Never, as far as financial corruption and embezzlement or whatever you want to call it. And so I was kind of relieved to hear that because I'm like, there's maybe hope that people are seeing that this administration, and I think a lot of people they look at him up there with these press conferences and with these speeches, and they have the same sense that we have that this guy's being propped up by somebody or some group of people, and people like are feeling sorry for the guy. Like he's this
Yeah.
old man being, pushed around, put on airplanes and flown around the world, and he talks about ice cream when kids get shot, and all of this. So I'm also optimistic. And I think another reason, Mike, because I mean I've got Windows on my computer. I don't have an Apple, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm exposed to the leftist media, just because this computer will give me news headlines, and it's all CNN, MSNBC, HuffPost. Trump sucks. Trump did this. Bad news for Trump. All of that. And so this is what the world's being fed.
Yeah.
And despite that, I also have Twitter, now called X, and that's why I have hope, because there are viral videos going all over by account holders that have millions of viewers. And each of those viewers is also spreading these viral videos. And I mean on the border, in airports, in school gymnasiums, um, as far as the DEI issues, a lot of things are coming out about major corporations instituting DEI and putting financial incentives to their managers that they'll get bonuses if they hire less white people. And there are documentation about this. Never mind the LGBTQ plus issues going on in our public schools, where there are videos of teachers just, I mean, literally in front of classrooms of second graders, first graders, preaching the rainbow flag, and it's okay to be any, gender fluidness, the books in the school libraries, it's all coming out, and it's being mass distributed
Yeah.
to anybody who has a Twitter account. Like, it's unavoidable. So instead of people just being exposed to CNN, MSNBC, ABC, the major alphabet networks, the social media platform that the leftist progressives have been so afraid of for the last, call it 6, 7 years, it's like it's just free now. Like, the disinformation board never happened.
Right.
And now you can even talk about COVID coming from China. You can talk about election fraud in 2020. And you're not getting booted off YouTube anymore like we were.
Yeah.
We've been booted. We
Legit.
have episodes that are we have lost episodes. I
We
mean,
have
like,
lost episodes.
right. So I'm also feeling optimistic. If nothing else, I think things are so bad that the fervor, I think a lot of the Democrat voters may just sit this one out. And that's what I hope. I hope they sit it out. Like, they can't get behind this guy again.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
I don't need you to vote for Trump, just don't vote for Biden.
right.
I mean that picture I posted on our thread a few weeks ago, um, settle for Biden. I've been following politics my whole life. I mean, since I was like 6 years old, I've never ever seen anything like that. I mean, the fact that to even make a sticker that says settle for X,
Yeah.
I mean, that's new territory, man. That I've never seen that before. Anyway, what do you think, Desiree? Where are you?
Ah,
Oh,
well, I just pulled my headphone out.
oh, sorry.
That's where I'm at.
I mean, what do you, are you,
So
what's your opinion on?
my experience is a little different. I live in Kansas, so that's has always been a very Republican state. And so, outside of Wichita, you have your Democrat pockets here and there. But even the Kansas part of Kansas City, a lot of, like, the Kansas side has like Kansas Speedway. It has like all like there are rednecks in the Kansas side of Kansas City, like Jayhawks, Kansas side. Like that is all very, that's all very like Republican stuff. Like, so I mean, you got your very, I mean, it seems like they're rampant here in the city, but other than that, the whole state, it doesn't matter who you talk to. It doesn't matter if they're Black, Hispanic, white, purple, it doesn't matter. They're conservative.
Wow.
And so my, how you guys talk about these crazed individuals doing whatever it is, whether it be preaching the LGBTQ flag in front of a classroom or protesting whatever the fuck outside of whatever building, that is not happening here.
Gotcha.
It's probably never gonna.
Yeah.
So to a degree, I mean, there's no shortage of abortion protests all the time, but that's neither
Like
here nor there.
against pro or like for abortion or against abortion?
Pro-lifers.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
But I mean, that's about the most exciting it gets around here.
Well, just to jump in, and not that, I mean, if and you can finish, but one thing that I think is very interesting that a lot of people don't talk about is, again, we are a big country, right? So I grew up in Baltimore, which is in Maryland. I live outside DC now. It's like I went to school in Virginia. So this is kind of Mid-Atlantic is my place, and around DC and Baltimore, things are have always been very Democrat. I mean, I think Maryland's like a 3-to-1 ratio, Democrat to Republican registered voters. But we are a very diverse country. It is a lot different other places. My parents live in Florida now, and I go down there and I land at MCO, which is outside Orlando, and I drive to their house, which is about a 2-hour drive from MCO. And there's all these billboards about that are pro-life, and like to me, I've never seen. It's the first time I've ever seen one in my entire life. Like I
There's so
never
many.
see them in where I live, and this kind of may be another topic, but I recognize, like where I am in DC, I recognize that I am in the minority, and 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 I get that. And there's a lot of people that are like, people that support Trump, or they're yahoos, they're assholes, they're homophobic, and I push against that. However, I have been to places that are majority not Democrat, and there are people that are assholes and homophobic and racist people. Like those people exist, right? So it's not it's all a matter of scale, I guess. But I always think about it. I'm like, man, when the worm turns and people realize how they're getting played by the party, like I want to be the dude that remembers there's some real major assholes on that are racist and that are homophobic and that are yahoos and whatever. And we need to be diligent about shutting that down too, because they are out there. And that, again, you're just bringing up Desiree because you're saying like where you live and that it's different and stuff like that. And I'm not saying people are like that there, but it's not black and white, in my opinion. It's like I've lived different places. I've seen people that ostensibly would agree with me, but their attitude towards their fellow human beings is pretty crappy. I'm just saying it's something that people need to like keep that in mind. If we are successful in taking back the White House and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm kind of getting off
So
subject,
I
but
really hate the idea, maybe that's what you can call it, that conservatives, Republicans, people who are on the right are homophobic, racist
mhm,
assholes.
of course not.
Because
Yeah,
I can attest to people that are on the left that are very much racist
100%.
and
Yeah,
homophobic and fake like they aren't,
100%.
to play like what's to virtue signal,
Hmm.
when you can tell like they're just not that you're just saying that. I don't know, it just irritates me.
Yeah,
um
and I agree 100. I'm just saying, and I'm just saying I think as a people who are conservative need to keep an eye on their blind spot too, because look, I've run into them. I've seen them. There are people who wear this hat who espouse quote unquote conservative beliefs that are they're jerks, man. I mean,
Sure.
but whatever. I mean, I didn't want to go all the way down that, but I'm just saying it is interesting the difference. I mean, as you go from state to state, but even with what you're experiencing, Desiree, have you seen a change? Have you seen like, has it been pretty consistent where people are like, Biden's a jerk, we need to get Trump in there, or has there been any change in your experience in the last
I
like two
mean,
months?
no. um Everyone here is just like, well, told you.
Well, that's so maybe it's around the
Yeah.
edges. I mean, where Jack and I live, or it's on the edges, right?
Now,
So
I will say, let me tell a different story.
yeah,
So, I'm not originally from Kansas. I'm from California. I happen to be
California.
from the beautiful Bay Area of California, San Francisco. Woo! Love it, love it. Lovely. Well, used to be
It
a lovely
is
city.
the most
Not
beautiful,
no
or
more.
was, at least when I was there, the most beautiful city in the country.
Beautiful.
100%. And it
Now,
smelled good too.
yeah, it just
Eucalyptus.
smelled like the bay and just like that.
Eucalyptus and
Yeah,
bay.
just oils and stuff. You know.
I love
Yeah.
it kills me when I hear about what it's like now, because it was the crown jewel of our country, in my opinion. But
So,
anyway.
I have family that still live in San Francisco.
Hmm.
Mainly, most of them live in like areas around there, Concord, Martinez, Walnut Creek, stuff that's not in the city. But I do have one aunt that lives in San Francisco proper, and my whole life I've known her, but she's always been a very like. She is not a conservative. She is very, very on the left. I mean, she is, all the things.
Hmm.
But she is now, because of like all the things that are going on there and just the bullshit about like the squatters laws and the you can't prosecute anything under under 10,000 or under $1,000, or the crime that is just rampant, and the homelessness and the shitting on the street has been happening.
Isn't that crazy?
Always. Well,
Yeah.
it's always happens, but
And the drugs.
and the drugs have always happened too, but it usually the shit not so much, but the drugs kind of were confined. But I mean, she's just like, this is fucking ridiculous. We've got to do something different because this is not working.
Yeah.
And
And
to see her say that
Hmm.
is a change.
that's what I'm talking about. It's like
Hmm.
I feel like there is a worm turning. I feel like there are people that are like, you know what? I think it's finally getting to the point that it's so crazy that people are like, this is not good. I never thought that would happen. I
Hmm.
see. I was very cynical. Um, I mean, I look at these like cases, these cases that Trump's fighting. They keep. Do you know how many there are, Jack? They keep saying four. I count five or six. But anyway, I
No,
mean, they're
there's the DC, Atlanta, Florida,
yep.
New York.
I got two New Yorks. I
There's
got
two
three New
New York.
Yorks.
No, there's two New Yorks off the top of my head. There's the one that has to do with Stormy Daniels and campaign finance fraud. And then there's the one about falsifying an estimates to the bank.
Letitia James. Yep.
And, and what's
The
the
ED.
other one?
Well, here's what I've got. So I've got for New York, I've got Judge Kaplan. It's a jury trial, New York, with E. Jean Carroll. With
Oh
they
yeah,
just had the 83 million.
yeah,
They've got New York City Judge Engoron with Letitia James as the prosecutor for inflating real estate values.
yep,
They've got Judge Merchant with prosecutor Alvin Bragg in New York City, the Stormy Daniels hush money.
yep,
Chutkin with Judge Chutkin with prosecutor Jack Smith in D.C. Circuit Court for insurrection. Judge McAfee in Georgia with prosecutor Fani Willis for election interference.
yep.
And then Judge Cannon with prosecutor Jack Smith in Florida for document tampering at
Classified
Mar-a-Lago. And
documents.
that's 6 cases. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing those up is I've now started hearing people who are more on the left being like, what is going on with this? Like
Mhm.
like people are like, yeah, that's pretty my feeling
Hush money is
is
not illegal. Inflating real estate prices is
that's
not illegal.
and I think it's getting preposterous. I think the party's desperate. I think there are people out there who do not watch our show, who do not they're God bless them. They got their own lives going on. They're not thinking about this stuff. They just look at like CNN and they're like, this is what the deal is. But
Mm,
even those people are even those people are starting to be like, what the fuck is going on?
yeah.
And I am, man, I gotta tell you, man, in the last month, my whole attitude about what's going on is it's like a 180. I mean, I'm so positive now. And I don't
Mhm.
know. I wanted to do this episode because I'm like, am I crazy? Like, am I losing my mind? Is this real?
No, the only thing that dampens my, because I'll be honest, when 2020 was going on, I told everybody that would listen that Biden was going to win that election.
Yeah.
Now,
Mm,
I didn't foresee all of the shenanigans
yeah.
much, but I just thought between COVID, the Black Lives Matter riots, the fact that the vaccine didn't come out while Trump was president, you know what I mean? Like, I just thought when the shit really hit the fan, the wall wasn't finished. Like, I just thought, and people hated him. People fucking despised Trump.
Like crazy,
And
man. Yeah.
and the fact that Hillary lost to him and all of a sudden Trump was the president, I think that was such a bitter pill for people that the people who stayed home when Hillary ran, they ran and voted, and the mail-in voting only made it easier.
Yes.
And so I just thought and then the media, I mean, all the shit we talk about, like, I just honestly thought Trump would lose to whoever they put up against him, right? I mean, that's how I felt. This time around, the only thing that dampens my new optimism is the fact that this administration or these powers that be, the man behind the curtain, whatever you want to call it, they will stop at nothing. There are so many true believers in government, okay, with power. We're already seeing them try to pull Trump off the ballots in different states, right? So there's enough of these true believers in the media, in government, um, that and now in the corporations as well, that I just think the shenanigans they're capable of pulling. And
Art.
look at all the cases you just rattled off against Trump. They've already done that.
Yeah.
They're trying. So what else are they capable of
It
doing with no scruples? Like, I've heard, I listen to podcasts, I try to follow, like, there's shows that I like. Like, I like Tim Pool, I like
mhm.
Ben Shapiro, except when he gets too into the economy, then my eyes glaze over, unfortunately. I'm not that smart when it comes to numbers. I'm just not. Um, but there are people that are actually, and not those two per se, but there are people that think Trump better watch out, like that these people are capable of taking him out, literally.
100%. I wouldn't have
Um,
said that before, but I 100% agree.
yeah, there's no scruples. The only thing
Yeah.
stopping them from doing that is that they're afraid of what would happen.
There,
They're
there's
afraid.
there's no floor, man.
No, there's no floor. And so and then never mind the voting shenanigans that these people are capable of, like,
Yeah.
so that dampens my optimism, but I'm with you, Mike. Like, I honestly think he's got, even though he may be running from jail, like, that could happen.
Yeah.
He may be
I
convicted.
it's going to be crazy, man.
I think even though he might be running from jail on election day, the son of a bitch still might win.
Yeah.
I really feel that way, and
I mean, and
I didn't
yeah,
feel that way in 2020. I didn't.
and I'll tell you, I mean, the other thing is just a little context in addition to just how things have been going lately. There's this old study, and I don't remember the name, and I don't remember when it was done. I think it was in the 60s. And it was college students, and they were shown 3 vertical lines, and they were all 3 of different lengths, right? Like 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches.
Okay.
And there were, I think, 10 people in the study. Only 1 was a subject. 9 were in on it. And the other students that were in on it would say that 2 of the lines they were supposed to pick out which one was longer. And the first 9 students would say that the two of the lines were the same length. They would be like, B and A are the same, right? And then they obviously weren't. And when they got to the 10th person who was the subject, it was something crazy. Like 91% of the time, they would say, like, yes, those 2 lines are the same length, because they just heard 9 people in front of them be like, it's the same length. So they redid the study, and they had 1 person who was like the 4th person, I think, 3rd or 4th person, that said, like, no, man, this one's the longest. It went the 10th person, it went to 70% of the time. They were like, yes, that one is the longer one. It only took 1 out of 9 to dissent to allow the 10th person the confidence to be like, no, I trust my eyeballs. Given that and what's going on, that's why I put on this hat. I put on this hat because not for, I don't want to piss people off. I don't want to get in a fight. I'm not being provocative. I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want other people out there to see somebody who's on the DC Beltway or going into 7-Eleven wearing this hat, so that they can be like, man, I feel okay talking about it now too. And I think that's what people need to do. I think if this is how you feel, you don't have to go out and storm, the barricades or protest. Like, just be who you are. Just be honest. Just be yourself and represent who you are and your values. I think that's all we need to do. I really do. I don't think it needs, I mean, before, like I said, a year ago, I had a whole different feel about this, but
Well, that's how we be doing it in Kansas, so
that's how you be doing it in Kansas.
that's
So
how we be doing.
I'm just saying, I think people just need to be honest. Like, look, this hat has caused some discussion in in my house, right? Wearing it. But I think when I wore this, I've worn this over the last few days, like when I'm out and about, and I've gotten enough looks from people that are like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not like, hey man, that's great. They're like, holy crap. Like, and I can see it's like, demystify it. It's not, you can do this. You can believe this, you can support this, and not have your house get burned down, right? I don't know. Anyway, it's
Yeah.
Do you guys want a Trump yard sign?
no,
I got black and send you.
No, he's not. He's not trying to expose his have his family be
yeah, I'm not
ostracized.
I'm not quite there yet, and I live with other people, and that's important too. You can't just be like a jerkhead. I mean, there's other people, and here's the thing.
That's so crazy to me that the people are really that fucking.
I know, but here's the thing though, and I've known this my whole life, because I've always been like into politics. To me, it's more interesting than the NFL, but there's people that aren't. And
Yeah.
I respect that. Like, there's people that are just like, you know what, Michael, whatever, man. Like, I just want to do my thing. And I'm like, I get that. I totally get that. So I don't want to be the turd in the pool. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I've noticed
the turd in the pool.
I've noticed a shift just in the last 2 weeks, and it's palpable. And that's why I wanted to do this little mini episode and get your guys' input on it.
Yeah, no, I feel it too, Mike. Like, I mean, I mean, I already, explained myself why I feel that way.
Yeah.
I And then as far as you had mentioned October 7th, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting to me as far as optimism, because we're seeing the youth vote that normally flocks and votes for whoever the Democrat is against whoever the Republican is. We were young, we had MTV saying rock the vote, but then they would basically direct you to Bill Clinton, you know what I mean? Like, we weren't kids, but we could vote
Yeah.
finally. You have that leftist media slant that we always talk about. And now these same college kids and young people, we see them at these pro-Palestine protests. They're very upset with the administration. It's
Yeah.
a big issue for them. Then you have everybody who is starting to finally see what's going on at the southern border and really realizing that millions and millions of people are coming into this country that don't speak the language, that don't have any real skills that you need in the workplace nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And they're being flown around wherever they want, buses, they're being given, there's reports that they get a gift card with 3,000 cash on it and a cell phone.
Can I
And
just
that's
go into Mexico and come over and get 3 grand?
and a nice hotel room,
Yeah.
you
But you
know.
get hassled for your fucking passport.
And then you have the inflation issue. The news keeps telling me that Bidenomics is working because look at the stock market,
I know.
and the prices aren't going down. I
Right.
mean, they're just not. Like, Biden can wave a magic wand and make the oil prices drop, more than they, when he first got in office, like gas just shot up and everybody was like,
It's
what
still
the
up there.
it's no, it's still up there, but I
It's still
mean, he
over
can.
$3. Yeah.
No, right, but it's not like, it had been like $6 at one point in
Mm-hmm.
most places. Like, it was nuts. And so he's got a little band-aid on that. But and people aren't seeing this infrastructure that they are talking about, I don't think. Like, I don't think that's a quick, oh, look at this, brand new road, look at this brand new bridge. Like, that's kind of a, it may happen at some point. They see our money going to Ukraine, now going to Israel, but we're not going to clamp down on the border. Like, I think people are just becoming more aware of how much this administration sucks. And
Yeah.
so a lot of the votes that they generally count on, I'm not sure they can get
Yeah.
anymore.
No,
Um, I'm just not. And then you talk about the marginalized communities in the major cities. I think a lot of Black and Hispanic people, they're looking at this migrant crisis as a real problem because these people are coming to their cities. And if anybody's going to take those jobs away from the American citizens that are the marginalized communities, they're worried about these guys. That's who they're worried about. That's
well,
competition.
the thing
Like,
is, in our media, we have, like, if you look at the alphabet media,
yeah,
the people coming into our country are the women with the head wraps and like the
no,
babe in swaddling clothes and like
nope,
the 3-year-old and 5-year-old and the 7-year-old running behind them. But in
nope.
reality, these are military age,
Hmm.
late teens, in their 20s males
By
without
themselves.
children
Yep.
by themselves that are coming in here. We have no idea who they are. I mean, look, we have
And they're
let
and they're not just coming, they're not just Mexicans. Like, they're coming from
cur-
all over the
right,
world.
China, all these places, man. I mean,
Yeah, the
and
Middle
then
East.
and you bring it up and it's like you're a ist or a phobe or I
No,
don't know, man. I don't, to
not so
me,
much.
I
Not so
look
much anymore.
I look at those people and they are the cry bullies. I love that term, cry bullies, right? Like, I just don't let that bother me anymore,
Yeah, but Mike,
you
what
know?
what I'm saying, Mike, is those people aren't doing that anymore.
They're starting, yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm
Yeah,
with you.
they're
It's
starting to see that this is a real problem.
Look, I have been posting on Huffington Post uh for about a year now. And typically I get like 0 upvotes and like 975 downvotes for anything I say. And nothing I'm saying is, I mean, it's all very polite. I
Right.
don't curse. But in the last like few months, it's like 50-50.
Oh, that's great.
It's like 37 upvotes and like 40 downvotes, like
Mhm.
I'm like, and all this is happening while I'm seeing the post 10-7. I think what happened on October 7th, set aside how completely horrible it was, but it showed this huge bright light that had no shadow. It did not allow for anyone to hide. You had to be black or white. You had to be A or B. You had to be for or against. You were either supporting a terrorist organization or you weren't. There was no way to split the baby on what happened on 10-7. There was no way to say, man, I really hate ripping infants out of women's wombs, but the Israelis have been kind of dicks. So, okay,
Mhm.
like you couldn't do that. So it
Yeah.
forced people into this binary choice, and that has spread into other issues where people are like, listen, platitudes aren't good enough. Like these things have actual effects on people's lives. Like these things that we're talking about, they're not just theoretical. Like there's real world repercussions
Mhm.
that happen. And I feel like it's almost like an awakening. Like there's people that are like, hey man, yeah, this is crap. Like I voted for Biden. I mean, Zeus says it all the time. He's apologized like 50 times on this podcast for voting for Biden. That stickers settle for Biden. I talk to people that voted for Biden, they're like, yeah, I can't really, they
Mhm.
can't articulate. If you go one half layer deep into their thought process of why they voted for Biden, it's over. It's
Mhm.
over. I mean,
Or
Like,
why they
why would
would,
you vote
or
again?
why they would
yeah,
again.
right.
It's hollow. It doesn't exist. It's all about Trump. It's all about how horrible he is. But I never expected, and I'm not saying it's a done deal, and I'm not declaring victory, but I
No,
never expected this. I didn't expect people to wake up. I hoped, but I didn't expect it, and I feel
mhm.
like it's starting to happen.
Let me hit on a different but similar topic. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what did Colorado actually take Trump off of the ballot, or
I don't.
did that blow over?
I don't know where that's at now. I don't know.
So
Yeah,
it
no,
was Colorado and
Maine,
no, it
Wisconsin,
was Colorado and I thought Maine, maybe.
Maine. I think it was Maine.
Maine. Wow.
I
Okay.
Yeah,
thought so. I
Well,
think those, but
so
I think that's pending Supreme Court
it's just it's
here's the
so
thing.
at this point.
crazy. Yeah,
To me, I think it's just a
it
listen,
doesn't pass.
Colorado. Listen, Colorado. You're a freaking left state. I don't even know what the fucking colors are.
It used to
Look,
be a conservative state, not so
the
much
shit
anymore.
is
Yeah.
not. That is a
It is a
Democratic.
beautiful state, though.
It is very beautiful.
Yeah.
Very cold and
It's
high up there,
it's
mountain.
great. Boulder is great. Yeah,
But it it doesn't matter if you took them off the ballot or not. You're still gonna get your votes are gonna go Democrat. That's where your electoral college is gonna go. It just is. It's just how it's gonna be. Now,
Yeah.
if you take them off the ballot, that's I feel like helping a little bit. Here's why: because those people that are the majority, like I said, they're gonna vote for whoever the Democrat nominee is, whether
Right.
it be Biden, whoever. But those who are like, nah, fuck that. I still want to vote for Trump, hey, whoever it's going to be. They're going to know within enough time that they're going to go to Kansas. They're going to go to Utah. They're going to go to Wyoming. They're going to find their family that lives in those states, get themselves a little Miller card, go get themselves a driver's license, and then go vote in those states to
yeah,
vote for their person.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've got an issue with the idea of taking him off the ballot for a crime that he's not even charged with, let alone convicted of. And I think the Supreme Court's going to say you can't really do that anyway, period. So I think that it's they've sort of overstepped, like a lot of times Biden, he knows something's unconstitutional, but he's like, oh, we're gonna do it anyway until they tell us we can't. I think that's what's going on here. And it's also because those states are so Democrat already, it's the politicians kind of catering to their audience. Like, look what I
Yeah.
did. Look what we did.
Like
Vote
we're
for
just
me. Vote for me. Vote for us again because this is what we did.
Take that, Trump.
Take that.
But I don't know if that
We don't
I
want
don't
to
know
see
if
his
that
name on the ballot.
stops I don't know if that stops people from writing him in. Like I don't know if he's fully disqualified as a candidate. I'm not really sure how that works, but I think the Supreme Court's going to shoot that down anyway. Just because he
I,
hasn't been convicted of that, let alone even he hasn't been charged with it. He hasn't been convicted of it.
The thing is, and this is I mean, I listen to Mark Levin, his
Mhm.
radio show, and when I can, and I would suggest anyone listening to this to listen to him if you want to get some good info. But
Yeah, I can't,
you
Mike. He's
know,
too apoplectic.
he is, I know it, and that's why I don't listen to him all the time. But his his whole thing is you can't rely on the Supreme Court. You can't.
No,
It's
you can't. You
you
can't.
can't. It's like you right is right, wrong is wrong, and you got to hope that they do the right thing. But there's no
Right.
guarantee that they're going to do the right thing. It's hard to hang your
I mean,
hat
how
on
would that work if you didn't put him on the ballot? Do you just put a nobody, and then so do you automatically have a Biden win?
That's
Is
what I'm
that a
saying.
vote?
We are
Is
in.
that even?
Look, these are things. The Constitution is a broad brush document. It illuminates certain um main points, but it doesn't get into this because the whole point of our form of government is that it assumes that and I'll say men, but men and women, it assumes that the men and women involved have virtue and that they want what's best for the country and that they
Don't throw little
are
bitch fits.
patriotic and that they're not gaming it. That what we're dealing with right now is a party that is using the Constitution and using the rules in it. They're gaming it. They're trying to push everything as far as they can to destroy norms, to destroy the civil society. They're not, they don't believe in the Constitution. That's why it always cracks me up when Biden is talking about like the Constitution. It's like, I'm not going to get lectured to by someone that is on record completely throwing the Constitution overboard, right?
Mhm.
And now he wants to cloak himself in it. My point is, we are dealing with people who do not, and like we said in the last episode, they don't agree with Americanism. That's our problem. Like when we're like, why can't we just get along? Well, we can't get along because we don't, they lack virtue, these people. They don't agree, they don't have the same belief system that we do. They That's the problem. And that's a big problem. That's a really big problem. It's not about an election, man. I mean, you're talking about culturally, we are very divided.
Mhm.
We don't believe the same things. It's hard to have a society when you can't even agree like when life begins, and not to
Yeah.
make this about abortion,
Mhm.
but when people don't even agree on that, it's hard to have a society. When we get along, it's a social contract. We assume, like I assume that Desiree is acting in good faith. I assume that Jack's acting in good faith. If they're not, if you guys aren't, I don't have any defense against that, right? It's like I have to assume that you're being cool. But if you want to
Mhm.
be an ass,
Then I got that
there's really
Second
nothing I
Amendment in my
can.
pocket.
I can't there's nothing I can do about it. And I feel like that's where we're at. But I also feel, like I said, I just felt very optimistic the last few weeks because I'm seeing people who I kind of took off my list
Hmm.
as people that I could even talk to about any of this stuff, and they're bringing things up to me.
Yeah.
They're talking to me they're explaining like they're explaining something I haven't already thought about. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like, I gotta tell you,
Right.
man, it's like a landmine. I get someone at work and they're like, Michael, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, man, you got no idea who you're talking to, man.
Right.
You gotta
Right.
watch the Friends of Space
Yeah.
podcast.
It's like you're preaching to the choir,
Yeah,
pal.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already there. I'm like 100 yards ahead of you.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, no, I was talking, like I told you the story about, my friend who said, I can't believe it, but I may have to vote this time around and I may have to vote for Trump. And I was telling him about that cartoon meme that we referenced, I think before on the show, that Elon Musk posted. And it was sort of it was a stick figure, right? And he said,
yeah.
"This is me," and it was like a Venn diagram, and it said, leftist, and it said conservative, and he was like right in the center of the two circles meeting, and then it said leftist, liberal, whatever. It went all the way out there,
I saw that.
so that suddenly the centrist was deemed a conservative.
Yeah.
And that's how this person, like, they've gone so far beyond, like we talk about, you just mentioned the culture, you hear about the culture war in this country. They it's like they got power and they took it to such an extreme that people are kind of like, huh, like, I'm supposed to, like, you had me, I don't know if you have me anymore, like, and I'm talking about
Yeah.
liberals.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and so I think as far as the culture war goes, I think maybe we're starting to gain some ground. I think we're winning a little bit because they just botched it. Like, they had power, they went crazy, whoever they are, and now your regular average Joe who always voted Democrat, like Zeus, like you said, Zeus always saying, "I'm sorry I voted for the guy." I mean, like, people are waking up. That's how
Yeah.
badly they've
Yes.
blown it. That's how
Yes.
badly they've blown it.
And
And I'm happy about it.
I'm
I
su-
think
I'm
I'm like,
thrilled.
keep it up. And the bottom line, these people think that American exceptionalism and Americanism, if you want to call it, is racist, is sexist, it's the patriarchy, white guys are terrible. I mean, like, if that's what you're preaching, not everybody's going to buy that. Some people are going to say, now math is racist.
Right.
Math is
I mean,
racist. Why?
I
I
mean,
know.
Why
it's
is math? What math do to you?
it,
God, shit.
I don't know. We could do a whole episode on what's racist now and what's not. Um, but I just think people are, your average person is not your totally indoctrinated true believer, but your
Right.
average, I pay my mortgage, I have kids, I vote Democrat. They're kind of looking around and being like, "Oh, wait a minute, I don't agree with that,"
Yeah.
or I voted for Biden, but what is my life? What's the country been like? What's my life been like the last 3 years? Not really, not great,
Yeah.
and
Well,
he's I mean, between Afghanistan, the border, the price of groceries, the price of gas, some of the shit that he says, like, I don't
Like
know. I
when he
think
said
people,
he was a Puerto Rican.
oh, he was everything. He marched in the Civil Rights March. He grew up around Puerto Ricans. He was number two in his law school. I guess he got caught lying about that back in the day. He was like
yeah.
dead last or something.
There was a video. I don't even know what the fuck he was. He was at something, and it was like some kind of. I feel like it was like a small, like maybe it's something to have to do with like African American something.
Okay.
I really don't remember what it was, but he was just talking about off the wall shit that didn't make any sense. You know what I'm talking about?
He always talks about
Whatever
off the
it
wall
had
stuff.
nothing to do. He was talking about like Biggie, or like not Biggie, like Biggie Smalls, but like his friend is like his homeboy Biggie or whatever he called his name, and he like got in a, I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He's a disaster. And the crazy thing is, we are, like I said, it's the emperor has no clothes, man. They know
Right.
he's a disaster. Everyone is lying to everybody. Like all the alphabet media, they're lying so much. Like they are they are freaking out. This guy he's a total train wreck. And they keep telling us he's okay. And that's what I'm saying. People are waking up and being like, man, Michael, I don't like your hat, but this he's a jerk. And that's why
Yeah.
I want to wear the hat. Like listen, and this is what I want to tell our viewer. Don't be a dick. Like if someone's like, hey man, I what's going on here? Like you need to be like, start with episode 1 of the Friends of Zeus podcast. It's going to take about 200 and some hours, but you got to work your way through this. Like you have to be compassionate because people are just figuring this out. These are our fellow Americans. And they don't know because propaganda is strong and it's real. And like we've said before with Coca-Cola, they spend billions of dollars on advertising. They spend billions of dollars to indoctrinate people because it works. It works. So when people are starting to get out of the thing like Neo in the Matrix, they're breaking out of the whatever. Some people call it getting, what is it, red pilled or whatever. Like you need to be there for them. Like don't be a dick. Like
Don't be like, told you so.
don't be like told you so. Don't be wearing this hat. Just be like, oh man, brother, let me give you a hug.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. This is the hug episode.
Well, that was I think this was
A
I
warm
think
mega hug.
no, this was this was a fun bonus episode. I mean, thanks a lot, Mike. Thanks for rallying
Yeah,
rallying the troops here and getting us to come on a Monday. I think it was a good conversation.
yeah, it's been a significant change. I just wanted to mark it.
To everyone out there, welcome to the red side, to the best side.
Yeah.
Wait, red, blue. Fuck,
yes, Des, red.
Okay. Red, the best. Welcome to the right.
Constitutional conservatism, man. All right, Jack, I think.
Yeah, I was about to say, as fun as this is, I think we have been on for a while, and I think it's time to wrap things up. So,
And we'll see you tomorrow.
bye, guys.